letter. It began with a letter that arrived on the day Emily turned 29. The envelope was pale yellow, edged in dust, as if it had been hiding in a forgotten corner for years. The ink was faded, but the name was unmistakable: Emily Wren. She hadn't used her full name since college. Inside, the message was brief. Open quote, "The house is yours now. Return to Ashgrove Lane. It remembers you." Close quote. There was no signature, no explanation. Ashgrove Lane. Emily dropped the letter like it had burned her fingers. The name stirred something deep inside her, something she couldn't quite reach. Her therapist would have called it repressed trauma. Emily preferred the word fog. She hadn't thought about the place in years. Or maybe she had. Maybe it was always there, pressing against the back of her mind like a bruise. A 2. Return to Ashgrove. The house stood alone at the end of a crooked dirt road, buried in a small New England town that didn't appear on most maps. Trees leaned in like they were listening. The wind hissed secrets through broken branches. Ashgrove House looked the same: 2 stories, slate roof, and windows like blank, watching eyes. But it felt smaller somehow, less real, like a photograph she once saw in a dream. Emily hesitated at the gate. A rusted plaque read, open quote, Wren House. Est 1899, close quote. She didn't remember ever living here, but she knew she had. Somewhere in the basement of her memories it waited, shivering, angry. She unlocked the door. The house breathed. That was the only word for it. As the door creaked open, she felt a gust, not air, but emotion, grief, loneliness, hunger. The first night, Emily wandered through the rooms, touching dusty furniture and faded wallpaper. Everything was still in place: plates in cabinets, books on shelves, even a child's drawing tacked to the refrigerator. She didn't draw that. Did she? She found a photograph on the fireplace mantel, her younger self standing beside a woman with short red hair. Her mother? She didn't remember the photo being taken. She didn't remember the woman. That night, the dreams began. In them, she was running through the halls as a little girl, screaming. Something was chasing her. But every time she turned, there was nothing. Just doors that led back to the same hallway again and again and again. When she woke up, there was a scratch on her arm, 3 fingers wide. The house groaned softly, like it had enjoyed the dream too. IV, the archivist. On the third day, a knock echoed through the hall. She hadn't told anyone she was here. A man stood at the door, tall and stooped, in a black coat and thick glasses. "I'm the archivist," he said. "The house called me." Emily frowned. "The house called you?" He nodded. "It wants to be remembered." "I don't understand." He smiled thinly. "It will help you remember too. That's the price." Before she could respond, he handed her a thick leather book and turned to leave. The title on the cover was embossed in faded gold: open quote, Memories, Wren House, close quote. Inside were blank pages, but as she flipped through, words began to appear. Handwritten. Childlike at first. Open quote, "I saw Mommy in the bathtub. She wasn't moving. The water was red." Close quote. Emily's throat tightened. Open quote, "Daddy kept yelling. He said the house made her do it." Close quote. She slammed the book shut. "No," she whispered, but she kept it. V. The walls whisper. Each night the house became more alive. Whispers echoed behind the walls. "Emily, come back." Photographs changed. In one, she saw herself hiding under a table, crying as shadows closed in. The kitchen clock ticked backward, and the book filled itself more and more. She learned her mother had died in the house, slit wrists in the bathtub. Her father went missing shortly after, and she had been found alone, age 6, locked in a closet, unresponsive, holding a stuffed bear with glassy eyes. Emily didn't remember any of it. The house had eaten those memories, and now it was feeding them back. Vice, the room under the stairs. She found the door behind a coat rack in the hallway. It was small, barely big enough to crawl through. She wouldn't have noticed it if the lights hadn't flickered just right. Inside, the air was thick and cold. Toys, broken dolls, crayon drawings, a cracked mirror, and in the corner, her stuffed bear. Its eyes were missing. She picked it up. The moment she touched it, her head exploded with pain. Visions crashed into her, her mother screaming, blood on the walls, her father with wild eyes shouting, "Don't let it take her! Not her!" And then silence. She had locked herself in that tiny room and forgotten everything. The house had helped her. It fed on pain and guilt and silence. 7th, the house remembers. Over the following days, Emily wandered the house like a ghost. Each room now whispered a different memory. some beautiful, most horrific. She remembered playing hide and seek in the attic. She remembered the thud of her mother falling down the stairs. She remembered her father dragging her into the study, whispering about voices in the walls. She remembered the ritual. She remembered why the house had spared her. A bargain. Her father gave the house something in exchange for her safety, her memories. The house had devoured them, one by one, until she forgot everything. But the hunger never stopped. The final entry. The book was nearly full. One final blank page. The archivist returned. This time he brought matches. You can burn it now, he said softly. But if you do, everything goes. The memories, the pain, her. Her? He nodded toward the hall. A figure stood there, a little girl 6 years old, holding a bear with no eyes. Emily's knees buckled. It was her. The version of herself the house had kept. I don't want to forget again, Emily whispered. The archivist placed the matchbook in her hand. Then you know what to do. The fire, she lit the match. The house screamed. Not a noise, but a feeling. Rage. Panic. The walls trembled. Doors slammed shut. Wind roared through the broken windows. The girl at the end of the hall began to cry. Her eyes were full of shadows. The book burst into flames in Emily's hands. Pages curled and blackened. The words twisted into smoke. And then, silence. X. What remains? When the firemen arrived, they found her standing in the ashes. The house was gone, burned to its foundation. She was holding a bear. When they asked her what happened, she smiled faintly. It's over, she said, but at night in the silence, she still hears it, a whisper in the back of her mind. Open quote, the house remembers you, Emily, and it's hungry, close quote. And she knows it's not over, not really, because memories don't die, they just wait. And so does the house. If you liked this story, please subscribe to the channel and like the video.